gigantic Fox film production for the 1934-35 season and onward up until 2022. Looking for signs of Franka is like groping in the dark. Not a trace is left of her, writes Veronika Kostirko in her The Dancer and Shoah. No photographs have ever been found of Franka, so we can only believe reports that she was beautiful. We have not managed to establish how Franka got by before the war broke out. We know that she graduated from the same private Catholic middle school as her younger sister, Pola Nirenska, a dancer and Jan Karski's wife. Franka had no occupation. In the early 1930s, she married Fox producer and film distributor Frank Schwarzwald. Through the marriage, she entered what we would now call Warsaw circles. Handsome and athletic, Frank mingled in the Warsaw film world, but also in Hollywood, London, and Paris. His office was located at Sienkiewicz Street, 15, not far from the Rialto Cinema. He was a journalist at Cinema for All and Theater magazine, and in 1934, he summed up the Fox film program as follows. In the flood of American films assailing us, it distinguished itself proudly in the season now drawing to an end. It gave us a range of films that brought new artistic and social ideas into our sad gray lives. And so we gaped at what was unquestionably the masterpiece of 1933, Cavalcade, directed by Frank Lloyd, a marvelous, original, and bold film. Schwarzwald himself announced a sensation, releasing a gigantic picture made during Fox's expedition to the Malaysian Isles, a phenomenal film with highly emotional content. Its title, The Tiger Murderer. At the end of the interview, Schwarzwald says, "I would be so bold as to claim that the studio's present and forthcoming productions leave the competition far behind, and there is not a touch of exaggeration in the grandiose name which with I've decided to christen our films for the coming season, a gigantic Fox production." Franciszek Schwarzwald and his wife took a stroll to the conservatoire at Ordynacka Street for the first solo dance performance of Franka's 23-year-old sister Pola. Franka assisted in her choice of costumes and in handing out the fancy invitations. When Pola took part in the International Artistic Dance Competition at the National Opera, the couple undoubtedly became the guests of honor at the Folksal Society Club, the ball at the famous Adria, and the garden party hosted by Minister Beck's wife. In October 1939, all trace of Franka vanishes on Sienkiewicz Street. She was 31 years old at the time. Pola wrote to her from London through the International Red Cross. On December 14, 1939, she typed out a form that limited the content of her letter to 25 words. "Franka darling, let me know how you are. Write to my address through Geneva. Kisses, Pola." She provided Franka's address. The response came on the same piece of paper. The addressee moved out on October 29, 1939, to an unspecified location. Pola did not discover the fate of her sister during the occupation. Only after the war did she learn of her death in the Warsaw Ghetto. She told her husband, Jan Karski, that before the war, Many Polish men were hovering around Franka right after her divorce with Frank Schwarzwald. One even wanted to get married. But when she fled the ghetto and appealed to them for shelter, none would help. The one who had wanted to marry her said he would leave food under his stairs every 2 or 3 days. Franka's aunts had 2 houses within the ghetto. These may have taken her in. None of the 4 houses survived the war. What happened to Franka? Maybe her fate was recorded somewhere. Maybe one of the 1,400 survivors of the Warsaw Ghetto remembers her. She may have cropped up someplace, except we cannot recognize her. Afterface. Autumn 2021. Text messages from the forest by the border. We are in the forest. Judith is in the care of a stranger who was carrying her. We have lost all contact with her. We have received a photograph of her shoe. This is only a sign. We do not have a photograph of her. We do not know where her husband is at present. We have found nothing. Where is her child? She just got up and walked on.